What's going on, guys? It's Michael, and today I'm going to be giving you a review for one of my most anticipated movies of the entire year, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. It is once again written and directed by James Gunn, as it serves as the third and final film in the Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy. The movie follows Star-Lord as he's still grieving the loss of Gamora, until he's called back into action after Rocket has an accident, and this is a mission that could determine the future of the Guardians of the Galaxy as a whole. If not successful, this could be the end of the entire group. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is a movie I have been highly anticipating for quite some time now, probably like 5 or 6 years maybe, ever since Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 and their appearances in Infinity War and Endgame. I love these characters so much. I remember going to the theater watching Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1 in 2014 and just absolutely loving it and all the characters going forward. And I just love their appearances in not only the second movie, but in Infinity War and Endgame, even though in Endgame it's very brief. Basically, what I'm trying to say is these are characters that have meant so much to me, and I was really interested to see how James Gunn was going to conclude their story in the final chapter, considering that he's going on to DC moving forward. He's not really going to be doing a whole lot with Marvel after this. Maybe executive produce, I don't know, but as of right now, this is his final hoorah to the Guardians of the Galaxy in the MCU. And after hearing reports about this being an emotional roller coaster, especially with all the things that go on with Rocket and Star-Lord in this movie, I was just like, okay, I gotta like mentally prepare myself, maybe bring some tissues, maybe, because this is gonna be an emotional roller coaster, to say the least. Despite a lot of hit or misses from Marvel recently, I was still very much looking forward to Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, and after watching the movie, I am very pleased to say that James Gunn knocked it out of the park. Not only is this a magnificent conclusion to the Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy, but it may be in my top 5 favorite Marvel movies of all time. Unlike the previous 2 movies, this is more serious in tone. Yes, it's still lighthearted and very funny in places, but it's also very emotional and heartbreaking, especially with the scenes going on with Rocket. There were many points in this movie where I was on the verge of tears. Just everything that Rocket went through, it honestly broke my heart. It's a very emotional journey, not only with him, but also with the rest of the other characters, especially Star-Lord, who is still grieving over the loss of Gamora. There's also moments in here that just kind of hit toward my heartstrings a little bit. Just him trying to get through the loss of Gamora and just trying to cope with it with the rest of the group. James Gunn is very solid at comedy, but he's also very good at the more dramatic aspects of the movie. He is able to let these characters just breathe and have their moment without a joke coming in. There aren't really any moments in this movie where there's like a dramatic sequence and a joke just comes in to like undermine it. Everything is perfectly balanced, in the words of Thanos. Also, when the movie gets more comedic, damn, it is funny. There are a lot of moments in here that had me laughing out loud, especially the moments with Drax, and there's even a scene with Peter Quill that just had me laughing out loud as well. Pretty unexpected too. I just thought it was hilarious. Like, when those moments are there, they are very funny, but James Gunn also doesn't shy away from the more emotional aspects and letting these characters just grow as people. Like I said, perfect balance. And if you're worried about like jokes undermining like the more serious elements, fear not. This is not one of those cases, and this is one of those cases where the MCU understands, like, okay, we're gonna let these moments shine and we're not gonna undercut it with a joke. It was very refreshing, especially after watching Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, which I don't even want to get into. Visual effects and cinematography are also fantastic. This may be the best looking movie in the entire trilogy and one of the best looking movies in the entire MCU. It just, like, every shot in this movie just looks absolutely incredible. It kind of gives its own identity and is quite different from the previous 2 movies, not only in tone, but also in style and look. There's also one action sequence in here that just absolutely blew my mind. If you saw the movie, you know what I'm talking about. This is like top 5 MCU action sequences, maybe ever. It's very well choreographed, very well edited, and the music choice was just incredible. It worked so well here, and like once you see the movie, like, you'll know what I'm talking about. It is just that good. Kind of reminded me of the Harley Quinn sequence in The Suicide Squad, which is another James Gunn movie. just the awe factor I got from that, man, it was just so good. Like that action sequence and also the rest of the action sequences here in this movie are top tier. They are awesome. I also want to touch on the High Evolutionary for a minute because, man, what an amazing villain. He is just stone cold, just straight up evil to the bone, bad to the bone, if I guess. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that this guy is absolutely brutal. He shows no mercy, especially with his scenes with Rocket, which were very heartbreaking to witness. It's just really nice to see a Marvel villain that doesn't like have a redemption arc or anything like that. Like sometimes that can work, but it can undermine the like brutality of a villain. And I'm just really glad that James Gunn was able to make a villain who's just straight up evil, and that is the High Evolutionary. He's like top 5 MCU villains and the best MCU villain since Thanos from Infinity War. He is incredible, and the actor that portrayed him did an incredible job as well. Just straight up bad to the bone, evil, and that I just thought it was incredible, and it really gave the movie its high stakes, and just like seeing all of our characters like struggling trying to overcome this guy, like, man, he was awesome. That's all I have to say. To summarize it, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is phenomenal. It is a very emotional and satisfying conclusion to these group of characters, and it's a top 5 MCU movie. It's an absolute masterpiece. I think this may be one of my favorite trilogies of all time, next to like Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, and the Dark Knight trilogy. And that's just crazy to say. Like a group of characters named the Guardians of the Galaxy could qualify as one of the best trilogies of all time, but James Gunn, he was able to pull it off perfectly. I am incredibly happy and satisfied with how this movie turned out. And with that said, I'm going to be giving Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 an A+. I'm going to miss these characters so much and James Gunn's vision for the MCU, but I am very excited to see what he has in store for the DCU, especially with the new Superman coming out in 2025. I cannot wait for that, and I believe that DC is in magnificent hands with James Gunn. Movies like Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 and The Suicide Squad just shows what he is capable of when he's at full power, and I cannot wait. But with all that said and done, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and if you enjoyed it, be sure to give it a like, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel as well, and I will see you all on the next one.